What is up? YouTube, Oprah on the run after Cat Williams leaked her private chats with Diddy. Oprah on the run? Hold up, man. It's Pepper. Oh, and then you got the Star Snitch. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell, baby. Give me 500,000 subscribers. Thank y'all so much, man. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell. Let's go ahead and go to 1 million, y'all. That's our next goal, man, is to hit 1 million. Man, if I hit 1 million subscribers, man, and I can start helping people, oh, man, I pray for that, man. I pray for that. Hey, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Let's check this out, man.
In 20 years, won't do an interview. Nobody's ever talked to her, and she's never been interviewed anywhere. All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way.
Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, Steve Harvey, Kevin Hart.
Then it's the same video, man. It ain't even nothing different. Let's see.
Everybody that Cat sat right here and told you about, everything he was saying was on the up and up. No one's saying he's lying. I can't wait to see your next interviews with those people.
They ain't coming on now, Mo.
Lately, the internet has been on fire after Cat Williams spoke openly about what he believes goes on behind the scenes in Hollywood. His words shocked a lot of people, especially when he started naming powerful figures like Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, and Diddy.
Wait a minute, y'all.
Oprah Winfrey is not new to controversy, and over the years, her name...
Dang, y'all, check this out. Wait a minute, y'all. I'm trying to...
In 20 years, won't do an interview. Nobody's ever talked to her, and she's never been interviewed anywhere. All lies will be exposed. That's all. In 20 years, won't do an interview.
It's the same video, man.
I
The exact same video. Hold up. Pause. They trying some stuff. We learning. Resume. Wait a minute. Oh my God, y'all. Oh, I found a new video for us to do, man. We're gonna react to this. Oh my God. I ain't even gonna say nothing. Y'all need to, oh my God. Woosah. Y'all need to check this out.
Oprah Winfrey was not friends with Jeffrey Epstein. She never went to a Diddy party, and somehow throughout every controversy she ever faced over her 40-year career, it was merely just a misunderstanding and she was completely innocent of any wrongdoing. Well, that's the official narrative. Whether she was platforming horrific offenders, exploiting victims for content, diverting attention away from Harvey Weinstein's crimes, starting a school in South Africa for young girls who ended up being abused by the employees, or her terrible Hawaii charity, the official narrative is always that Oprah was just trying to do the right thing and, unfortunately, it just didn't work out. But for some reason, if you scour across the internet, you will find that so many people think the billionaire is shady, hiding something, or potentially evil, which is the polar opposite of the mainstream opinion that she is a deeply empathetic woman who is extremely charitable with her money. So today we're going to deep dive into Oprah Winfrey's career and the controversies that kept getting reframed as misunderstandings, because at a certain point, the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. Oprah became both the youngest person and the first black woman to anchor the news at Nashville's WTVF TV at age 19. By 1984, she relocated to Chicago to host WLS TV's morning program, AM Chicago, and this was around the time that the industry started to realize the potential Oprah had. AM Chicago became the city's #1 daytime talk show within a month, surpassing broadcasting legends like Donahue.
Everybody loves Oprah.
You mean me?
She's fun, she's hip, she's really got her style.
Say that a little louder, please.
Less than a year later, AM Chicago expanded to a full hour and was rebranded as The Oprah Winfrey Show, which entered national syndication in 1986 and became television's highest-rated talk show. Oprah knew how to excite a crowd or those watching at home, but she could also calm down and talk deeply and intimately about serious topics. She'd embrace the guest with her warm energy and give them her full undivided attention, like her interview with Connie Francis where she discussed surviving sexual assault.
Everybody who has ever had to face it, and that's why it's so good that you're on here, because you think, I have problems? My goodness. Because you are such a superstar and have survived such traumatic things in your lives, if you could do it, then people feel like they can too.
But beyond celebrities, Oprah would interview ordinary people about issues that were not widely discussed on television. One particular episode revolved around normal couples who struggled with infertility problems. Some other similar topics were women who snoop on their husbands, the complicated dynamics between mothers and daughters, and even women who were involved in the usage or distribution of cocaine. Oprah's style of discussion felt natural and honest. Millions of viewers at home could relate to these testimonies, watching people on television describe experiences that they had gone through themselves. However, not everyone was exactly celebrating Oprah's newfound popularity. This article from 1988 is technically complimenting her, but it reads like they are insulting her. Few would have bet on Oprah Winfrey's swift rise to host of the most popular talk show on TV. In a field dominated by white males, she is a black woman of ample bulk, usually over 190 pounds, though she has lost 24 of them since starting a medically supervised all-liquid diet 3 weeks ago. What she lacks in journalistic toughness, however, she makes up in plain-spoken curiosity, robust humor, and above all, empathy. But before we dive deeper, hear me out for a second. You're eating French fries at the beach and you want to take a quick dip in the ocean, so you put a seagull on watch. That's not security, that's catering for the seagull. There's a reason you wouldn't trust a seagull with your fries, just like there's a reason you wouldn't trust your insurance company with your case. Morgan & Morgan has a proven there were also real criticisms about her race, weight, and lack of formal education. She came.
All right, here we go, y'all.
You can go to forthepeople.com/Patrick.
I try to skip they Morgan & Morgan stuff.
Oprah faced prejudice about her race, weight, and lack of formal education. She came off as a regular person just trying to relate to regular people. But beyond the prejudice, there were also real criticisms about how Oprah approached these topics. Her show focused more on how stories felt, rather than breaking them down in any kind of expert or academic way. Oprah wasn't bringing on specialists who could accurately explain why these people were in the situations that they were, but to be fair, many of the topics didn't really demand that level of analysis. These were everyday problems discussed by everyday people. But something interesting started to happen. Simply by hosting these conversations and validating people's stories, Oprah herself started to be viewed as someone to trust in a broad range of subjects, even though she wasn't presenting any research, expert consensus, or long-term data. Her authority got even stronger when she used herself as an experiment for extreme weight loss, and it launched her into mainstream fame. Oprah went on a 4-month-long medically supervised fast program called OptiFast, where she bragged about not eating any food for the entire duration. OptiFast is considered a supplemental fast, meaning that the patients subsist on high-protein, vitamin-packed powder mixed with water. The formula is taken 5 times a day to substitute for eating. Total daily caloric intake is 420. Oprah went from 212 pounds to 145 pounds in 4 months, and to celebrate her new body, she brought out a wagon of disgusting fat that represented the amount that she had lost.
At the time, I felt it was important to show it in that way because I'd starved. I'd literally starved for 4 months or 4.5 months.
The fat loss episode in particular caught the eyes of 62 million viewers. During a period when everyone watched TV exclusively, this stunt almost got as much attention as the Super Bowl that same year. This was dangerous because it made an extreme, tightly controlled medical program look like a simple starvation diet, and the 62 million viewers who watched didn't have the doctors or financial means to attempt this safely. By Oprah celebrating the results without emphasizing the risks, the message became dangerously simple. This worked for me, so it could work for you. And suddenly, one supervised fast gave Oprah the perception as an expert in nutrition. She started making diet plans and dangerous foods a recurring theme on her show, which would eventually get her into some major legal trouble down the road. But by 1988, Oprah was on top of the world. She founded Harpo Studios, becoming the 3rd woman in American entertainment history to own her own studio. She now had more potential than any other talk show host or any other media personality in history. She had massive ambitions, and it quickly became clear that she was willing to do anything to get to the top, pushing boundaries of what daytime television could get away with, like when she brought on a gang of white supremacists on her show to discuss their worldview.
I just heard what you said. You just said, I don't sit with monkeys. You think because she's black, because I'm black, we're we're monkeys? Is that?
That's a proven fact.
A bunch of low IQ racists came on Oprah to spread hate.
He said, how dumb you sound when he said, that's a proven fact. How is that a fact? And how is it proven? That's what I would be asking him. I will put him on the spot. How is that a proven fact?
I just heard what you said. You just said I don't sit with monkeys. You think because she's black, because I'm black, we're monkeys? Is that?
That's a proven fact.
A bunch of low IQ racists came on Oprah to spread hate, and she did very little to push back or challenge what they were saying. The very moment that the white supremacists left the show, Oprah realized that she had platformed a very dangerous group of individuals, and she swore to never do it again.
When they left, I made a decision that I would no longer allow the platform that I had to be misused by people who were carrying any form of negative energy that could create more negative energy in the world. That what I thought I had been doing was allowing people to see how violent, how abusive, how not smart they were, that I was actually doing the opposite.
But this wasn't exactly the truth. Oprah continued to platform people with dangerous ideologies, and things got dark quickly. Winfrey slowly stepped away from logical, ordinary discussions and entertained more sensationalism. One of her most successful series was about a phenomenon called the Satanic Panic. It was a wave of moral panic that swept across the nation, as many Americans believed that secret satanic cults were abusing children, performing rituals, and infiltrating schools, daycares, and communities. For Oprah, it looked like she saw this as a great opportunity, regularly platforming anyone who made claims of experiencing satanic worship.
My next guest was used also in worshiping the devil, participated in human sacrifice rituals, cannibalism. What kinds of things went on in the family?
Babies would be sacrificed, and you would have to,
babies.
There were people who bred babies in our family.
Despite lacking verifiable evidence, stories about supernatural or dark spirits kept viewers glued to the screen. The country's strong Christian values at the time helped fuel the hysteria, and the Satanic Panic became the modern version of the Salem witch trials. Some pastors even believed threats came from movies and video games. Heavy metal and hard rock bands like Iron Maiden, Def Leppard, and Judas Priest were accused of pushing Satanism through their lyrics and dark imagery. In 1989, Michelle Smith, co-author of Michelle Remembers, appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Show alongside Laurel Rose Wilson, another publicized victim of satanic cults. Her claims appeared in the 1988 book Satan's Underground, where she detailed extreme graphic stories of supposed occult torture. However, her claims were debunked after investigators found that none of her claims of satanic ritual abuse could be verified. In her book, Wilson described being forced into cult ceremonies, but reporters discovered that the key events were impossible. She wasn't living with abusive Satanists, but in foster care. No police or medical records matched Wilson's stories, and the people she named as perpetrators had alibis or no connections to her at all. Simply put, her book was all hearsay, but Oprah had her on anyway. Similarly, Smith's Michelle Remembers was debunked through basic fact-checking. Journalists found that a lot of the dramatic events Michelle described, like month-long rituals, car accidents, and hospitalizations, had no records or evidence. And despite both of these books being entirely made up, almost closer to science fiction, both women's experiences were presented by Winfrey as incontrovertible fact, and not once did she question the authenticity of any claim in either book. But Oprah did not stop there. She brought on a young boy named Duffy Strode, whose family was being chased out of town for stirring up fear in Marion, North Carolina.
Whosoever therefore shall be ashamed of me.
In your own word, tell us, what does that mean?
It means just what it says.
While it might have made
Wait a minute. Little kid? Little boy.
Bullshit, 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 bullshit.
Little boy. The question is, tell me what that means in your own words. In your own words.
Whosoever therefore shall be ashamed of me.
In your own word, tell us, what does that mean?
It means just what it says.
While it might have made for engaging
my
television,
God.
there was something seriously wrong about putting a very young child on stage to defend his beliefs to a crowd of angry spectators. It's pretty clear this young boy doesn't fully understand what's going on. He almost seems kind of hypnotized. And remember, this is pre-social media. It's not like the boy was already amplifying his voice and getting millions of views on everyone's phones around the world. Oprah gave them a national platform, and she presented herself as the voice of reason, but also refused to keep her audience calm and under control. She knew the chaos made for great TV. And yes, people were critical of Oprah at the time, but it didn't matter. She owned the show, she was the boss, and as long as the network was making money, they didn't care. By the early 90s, a genre now called trash TV was emerging. The media started moving towards more sensational stories or controversial topics with shows like The Jerry Springer Show, The Jenny Jones Show, and Maury. Hosts would bring on random people with unknown backgrounds to share their issues, like unwanted pregnancies, stolen inheritance, or damaged property. The goal always seemed to make the situation so emotionally explosive that the guests and audience members would literally start fighting each other. And I'd be lying if I said this wasn't entertaining. But the key difference was that these shows were unapologetically chaotic. The spectacle was the point, and everyone involved understood that going in. Oprah was supposed to be facilitating meaningful discussions, but she tried to balance that fine line between sensationalism and legitimate topics, and she honestly did a great job at it. In 1990, she interviewed a murderer and bank robber in prison who had multiple personality disorder. In 1991, she brought on mothers and stepmothers to argue over who deserves what authority in the child's life.
My first guest, Patty, calls her kids stepmom, the bitch. She's here with her daughter, Tina. Tina claims that she loves both of them. Tina's stepmother, Sharon Saylor, says Patty is jealous because of the close relationship that she has with Tina.
In 92, she brought on gay people who were fired from their jobs for being homosexual, and then brought on employers to defend their decision to fire gay employees.
Employment is a right that we have as an employer to whether we hire or fire somebody. By the same reason that I would not knowingly hire a homosexual, neither would I knowingly hire a prostitute or someone who is a gigolo or someone who is a womanizer, because I think I have that right to project a certain image for my company.
In 93, she had
Yeah, but at the same time, wait a minute. If somebody, no gray area. Remember that, y'all. No gray area. Good or bad. Positive or negative. Good or bad. Positive, negative. God, devil. Okay, I'm trying to make sure I keep everything on the right side. Now, being homosexual, is that good or bad? That's no gray area. That's the preference of the person. So, being black or white, being male or female, being fat or skinny, all these are things that need to be over here. That don't have nothing to do with, can a person do the job? Can they do the job? Yes or no? Now, if they was a thief or if they escaped from jail, that's a no. You can't get a job. I need to call the police. That's it. It's that type of thing, man. What are you talking about when he said, wait a minute, when he said...
Employment is a right that we have as an employer to whether we hire or fire somebody. By the same reason that I would not knowingly hire a homosexual, neither would I knowingly hire a prostitute or someone who is a gigolo or someone who is a womanizer, because I think I have that right to project a certain image for my company.
In 93, she had a segment called Why White Men Fear Black Men, where white men express their views on racism to other black men's faces.
I don't feel that the white race, I mean, how long can we continue to be guilty? Wrongs were done. It's a shame. There are wrongs presently. But how long can you play on the same thing? Something happened 20 or 30 years ago.
And to her credit, she seemed to do a good job at creating these fair environments, where individuals with varying opinions can all get a chance to voice them, leaving the audience to decide what to believe. However, she did not give that same grace to celebrities, because in Hollywood, celebrities are expected to surrender their privacy as a part of the job. Their relationships, trauma, addictions, and mistakes are all treated as fair game for someone like Oprah to poke and prod at. Plus, the audience believed that just by being on the show that they had signed up to be interrogated. One of the most awkward interviews Oprah ever had on her show was with Michael Jackson, where she continuously asked questions about his trauma that he grew increasingly uncomfortable answering.
I had pimples so badly, and my father teased me, and I just hated it. I cried every day.
Your father would tease you about your pimples?
He would tell me I'm ugly.
What's your relationship like with him?
I love my father, but I don't know him.
Are you angry with him for doing that?
Sometimes I do get angry, yes. I don't know him the way I'd like to know him.
But this was Michael's first televised interview in 14 years, so she was not going to miss out on her opportunity.
So he would tease you, make fun of you?
Yes.
Did he ever beat you?
Yes.
And why would he beat you?
I guess maybe, I don't know if I was his golden child or whatever it was. He was very strict, very hard. And just a look would scare you.
Were you scared of him?
Very. There's been times when he'd come to see me and I would get sick.
Really?
I'd start to regurgitate.
Oprah went question by question, bringing up every ridiculous rumor that was ever spread about him. From the allegations that he had bleached his skin, to plastic surgery, to his sexuality and his history with relationships.
Have you ever been in love?
Yeah.
With Brooke Shields?
Yes, and another girl.
It's embarrassing for me to ask you this, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Are you a virgin?
How could you ask me?
Oh my God.
I just want to know. I want to know.
I'm a gentleman. It's something that's private. I mean, shouldn't be spoken about openly. You can call me old-fashioned if you want, but to me that's very personal.
So you're not going to answer it?
I'm embarrassed.
Yeah, there you go.
You're not going to answer it.
Oprah's a rude person. She really thinks she's entitled to get an answer. Michael responds with class. She didn't deserve it. Oprah has no boundaries. Asking celebrities unrehearsed questions put her in total control. The famous guests knew that if they reacted normally and pushed back, Oprah's massive audience might turn against them and ruin their reputation. And because of this, every visit to the Oprah Winfrey Show was a bit of a gamble. They know talking with Oprah would be a big promotional tool for their career, but they could easily be caught in a trap where they might be forced to reveal personal secrets. Like when Oprah interviewed Broadway legend Nathan Lane and asked about his sexual orientation, but luckily Robin Williams saved him.
Taking that role and being like typecast and people forever saying, are you not? Is he, honey? I don't know.
Girl, you changed just in the middle of that sentence. Don't make me come out there.
I don't think Oprah was trying to out me, but I said to Robin beforehand, I'm not prepared. I'm so scared of going out there and talking to Oprah. I'm not prepared to discuss, that I'm gay on national television. I'm not ready. And then, of course, she was like, how come you're so good at that girly stuff? And then Robin sort of swoops in and diverts Oprah goes off on a tangent and protects me because he was a saint.
Oprah tried as hard as she could to get some sort of juicy gossip or headline from Prince, but he knew what she was doing and wouldn't give in.
Have you ever perceived yourself as being weird in any way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand everything's relative, not weird to me.
And you're living in Minneapolis, of all places.
Minneapolis, yeah. I will always live in Minneapolis.
You will always live here?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
It's so cold, it keeps the bad people out.
Some people even think that he was low-key dissing her by saying it keeps the bad people away, since she was clearly hating on Minneapolis for some reason. Oprah also turned her sit-down with Toni Braxton into a straight-up interrogation about her finances and lifestyle, shaming her in front of the entire world.
B-R-O-K-E, broke?
Broke.
Like broke?
No money.
No money. Like net worth what?
Negative.
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 She has filed for bankruptcy.
She's so freaking mean to me. I was in shock.
Do you take responsibility for the situation that you're in right now?
100%. I couldn't believe it because I loved her so much. I admired her and looked
answer
up
the
to her.
question.
And she pretty much reprimanded me.
I read that you were upset about stories that your overspending caused this.
She says to me, I hear you have Gucci flatware. I'm Oprah Winfrey and I don't have Gucci flatware.
First of all, I didn't know Gucci made silverware.
Oprah even asked a very young Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen about rumors regarding their weight. She wasn't satisfied.
It's sad, man, because she came to Oprah, sister to sister, whatever, woman to woman, whatever you want to call it. And you can clearly tell she's hurt and she's crushed and don't know what to do. But at the same time, she's almost looking for answers. I'm looking for help. Oprah, I thought you was going to try to help me or something. Oh my God, that was embarrassing, man.
I looked up to her and she pretty much reprimanded me.
I read that you were upset about stories that your overspending caused this.
She says to me, I hear you have Gucci flatware. I'm Oprah Winfrey and I don't have Gucci flatware.
First of all, I didn't know Gucci made silverware.
Oprah even asked a very young Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen about rumors regarding their weight. She wasn't satisfied with the 17-year-old twins' response and decided to dig deeper.
The new rumor that's recently surfaced has really upset you, right? The one about eating.
People are going to write what they want to write. Either you're too fat, you're too skinny, and people are just going to write what they
What size are you, by the way?
size.
Yeah, I always like
I'm really sure.
And as the years went on, Oprah's empathy felt more like a tool to extract as much information and emotion as she could out of her guests. A great example of this would be her interview with Kelsey Grammer. In a short span of time, his grandfather died of cancer, his father was murdered, his brother died in a scuba diving accident, and his younger sister was abducted, violated, and left for dead. If anyone needed a gentle interview, this was the guy. However, Oprah seemed like it wasn't enough for him to share his story. It was like she wanted him to relive it all over again.
When my sister died, 2 years...
You say my sister died. Your sister was brutally and murdered, which is a little different than just dying. You still miss her, I can see. Do you ever get over it?
No.
Why does she keep saying brutally murdered? I mean, geez, he knows that. He doesn't need to be reminded of it like that. But besides her fake empathy, Oprah had another secret weapon, and that was that she could alter or edit any interview if it didn't go her way. Rapper Ludacris claims that she used her power to manipulate their conversation before the public ever saw it. But first, you have to understand that Oprah simply does not like hip-hop.
I've been known for not being a big fan of rap music because of misogynist lyric and because of the use of
Jay-Z.
the N-word. You obviously feel differently.
Jay-Z, okay.
A little bit.
Therefore, her coverage of
Jay-Z
fan
a
of
little
rap
slick.
music because of misogynist
Street guys, people in the street. Jay-Z a little slicker, so watch this.
lyric and because of the use of the N-word. You obviously feel differently. A little bit.
Therefore, her coverage of rappers and conversations with rappers should be viewed through a different lens, considering Oprah is extremely biased against them. But when Oprah had Ludacris on her show to promote his new movie Crash, she interrogated him as a rapper, even though he was there as an actor.
I was there for Crash, for the movie.
Yeah.
And basically she said something about not agreeing with my music, but she thought I did great in the movie. And of course I was up there with the whole cast of Crash. And so I didn't necessarily feel like that needed to be said. You know, you didn't agree with my music. And even if you don't agree with certain songs I made, say you don't agree with certain songs, don't say you just don't agree with all of my music. Right. So it was a lot of comments that actually basically she was able to say what she said, and then I had my rebuttal. And when I saw the final show, her comments were in there.
Right, was in there, but yours wasn't in there.
And mine weren't in there, so it just...
Yeah, see, those are cheap shots. Can you imagine that? You on somebody's show. Somebody can come on my show and all the stuff they said, I can cut parts out before I air it. Isn't that wrong? Dang, that's wrong. Or I'm the one to decide on I can decide on that even showing the whole thing. You got to respect people's shows, man. You got to respect.
I kind of took it. Wow. Like, was just quiet.
On one hand, Oprah offered something almost no one else could, a platform to millions of people. But she was the gatekeeper. You were stepping into her world under her rules. And when one person controls the questions, the framing, and the final edit, you were powerless. And with Oprah being the biggest show on television, making fun of her was one way that Mad TV's Deborah Wilson connected with some of Oprah's critics.
Today's show is about grieving.
Damn it! It's okay, girlfriend. I'm just gonna smile and think about the money. All right, let's make the loss of a loved one fun! Okay, here we go.
Wait a minute, y'all. I'm sorry. I think I missed one thing.
Questions, the framing, and the final edit, you were powerless. And with Oprah being the biggest show on television, making fun of her was one way that Mad TV's Deborah Wilson connected with some of Oprah's critics.
Today's show is about grieving.
Damn it! It's okay, girlfriend. I'm just gonna smile and think about the money. All right, let's make the loss of a loved one fun! Okay, here we go. Oh, yes. Come to mama. Who the hell is that on the monitor? Is that Cedric the Entertainer?
No, Oprah, that's you.
Oh, girlfriend, look, I had a rough weekend, okay? I gained over 180 pounds. I told you to tape me only with the thinning camera.
Now, you could think that this was done in poor taste, but others felt that Oprah had profited enough off others' trauma, and it was only a balancing act that she had some coming her way. Like this sketch making fun of Oprah dunking on someone else's eating disorder.
I would stuff myself with sweets.
I understand how you feel, Mary, because I, too, was a victim of overeating when I was just a child. It was my great saying for years.
Anyway, by the time I was 12, I had ballooned up to 300 pounds.
Nothing. I ballooned past 300 pounds by the time I was 8. In school, high jumpers landed on me.
Okay, getting back to me. I started to diet like a fanatic. I tried every diet in the book.
Oh, yeah? Well, I tried every diet there was. Water, fruit, no carbohydrates. and I still kept gaining. Finally, I had my mouth welded shut.
Despite Mad TV pointing out the negative aspects of Oprah's authority, her ratings were through the roof. Her show drew 12 to 13 million viewers on an average weekday. So of course she wasn't going to change. In fact, she was doubling down because she was arguably the most powerful person in television. In 1996, Winfrey began Oprah's Book Club, an on-air club designed to get the country excited about reading. After she would promote a book, they would start selling millions of copies. In 1997, she launched Oprah's Angel Network, a charity that raised more than $80 million from her viewers around the world. Winfrey also co-founded Oxygen Media LLC with Geraldine Laybourne, someone whose name was on Jeffrey Epstein's private jet log. Oxygen was a lifestyle and entertainment programming oriented towards women. And in '98, The Onion published a piece that exaggerated Oprah's influence to an absurd degree, but only because so many people already recognized the pattern. They took fake quotes from Oprah fans that said, "What book should I read? What low-fat lemon bread recipes should I use? What made-for-TV movies should I watch to give me a sense of empowerment?" asked Pamela Kolb. In these complex times, it can be frightening to have to go 3 weeks without any guidance from a television personality, but we must remain true to Oprah's vision. Our duty is to stay focused and on full alert until new orders are issued. But this doesn't really feel like an exaggeration. Oprah had a cult-like fan base of middle-aged moms all across the world, and because of that, she needed more content to supply her growing demand of emotional shock daytime TV. Her production company was looking to introduce another half self-help, half shock value show, kind of the classier cousin to Maury or Jerry Springer, and the perfect man for that was TV psychologist Dr. Phil. In the late 90s, Oprah was facing a massive lawsuit brought on by the Texas Beef Group. They started building a case after Oprah Winfrey aired an episode on her show called Dangerous Foods. She invited Howard Lyman, a cattle rancher turned vegetarian, onto her show to discuss controversial practices within the beef industry, including a process now banned in the US called rendering, which involves turning cow organs into feed for other cattle. She said because of this conversation, she would not eat another hamburger, and she had the type of influence where millions of people would just blindly listen to whatever she said. Beef prices went spiraling down after the episode, reaching a 10-year low, and the American beef industry felt that she defamed the entire industry. In the middle of her courtroom battle with Texas cattlemen, Oprah turned to Phil McGraw's trial consulting firm, Courtroom Sciences Inc. With the help of Phil, Oprah won the case and came out on top.
I just want to thank everybody who supported that idea and the idea of free speech. I believe I'm one of those people who probably just took it for granted, but that will never be so again.
And although this case was weak to begin with, it was a wake-up call for Oprah. For years, she had relied on empathy and personal testimony without always challenging claims or bringing in opposing experts. This lawsuit made it clear that platforming anyone with a strong opinion on national television in front of millions of people without having experts properly challenge them can have real consequences. Which is why it was perfect timing that she met Dr. Phil, because he was about to change Oprah's life forever. While people think of doctorate psychologists and therapists as helping with past trauma, Dr. Phil wasn't technically that kind of doctor. He helped prepare people like Oprah for trials, telling them how to speak and present themselves to look less guilty. He also assisted lawyers in jury selection, reading their statements and behavior before deciding whether or not to remove them from the jury. Phil earned a weekly segment on Oprah's show, because if you think about it, he was the ultimate asset to her. Dr. Phil's presence fundamentally changed how Oprah's conversations were received. For years, Oprah had been leading deep emotional discussions about family conflict, trauma, and personal responsibility, and Dr. Phil gave those same discussions a stamp of authority. Because he was introduced as an expert psychologist, his agreement with Oprah's instincts validated her. Dr. Phil reinforced the idea that Oprah wasn't just hosting these conversations, she was guiding people towards the truth. But the best part of Phil's addition to the Oprah Winfrey Show is that he also became a regular joke on Mad TV.
Thank you, Oprah, for creating the Dr. Phil Show. For without it, I would truly be somewhere in Texas, sitting in a trailer, drinking excessively, and touching my private parts while watching Mexican soap operas.
Oh my God.
However, actual therapists became really concerned when McGraw's popularity led to Oprah's production company creating his very own syndicated talk show, Dr. Phil, where people with deep personal or family problems came on stage to discuss their situation in front of a live audience. When his show aired in 2002, it had the biggest debut ratings of any new talk show since Oprah Winfrey in 1986, and it would remain in the top 2 daytime talk shows for more than a decade, meaning Oprah now owned the 2 biggest daytime talk shows in the world, and at the same time, she officially became a self-made billionaire. And despite the show's popularity, Phil McGraw has long been the most controversial mental health expert on TV. Professionals have criticized Dr. Phil's style of advice, describing it as overly simplistic, sometimes harmful, and not a substitute for licensed therapy. To make matters worse, Phil might have earned a PhD in clinical psychology, but he is no longer a licensed clinical psychologist and hasn't been since 2006. He stopped renewing his license after his TV career started to take off, but he didn't stop giving what appeared to be professional advice. After the show's peak, multiple former and current staffers alleged that the workplace fostered verbal abuse, fear, intimidation, and racism, and some claimed that guests were manipulated or treated unethically. The situation didn't get any better when it came to Phil's reputation for handling troubled adolescents. He has faced several allegations after referring children struggling with behavioral issues to Turnabout Ranch, a Utah-based residential treatment program. The facility has long faced allegations of sexual, physical, and psychological abuse. One former Dr. Phil guest filed a lawsuit claiming that age 17, she was assaulted by a staff member at the ranch. After reporting the assault, the victim alleges she was punished with forced labor in freezing conditions, forced to sleep on a wooden plank, and subjected to other degrading treatment. Even Danielle Bergoli, or Bad Baby, publicly described harsh conditions during her stay, including limited showers, being prevented from sleeping or lying down for days, and deprivation of basic comforts or privacy. Dr. Phil has avoided addressing these allegations and continues to recommend the facility, all while Oprah Winfrey's production company has been funding and profiting from this show. But Dr. Phil isn't the only controversial figure Oprah has brought on to legitimize her brand. As her weight fluctuated throughout the years, she was always experimenting with diets and wanting the newest information about nutrition. Ever since her liquid diet and fat wagon stunt, a lot of her audience would tune in to see her transformations following a period of weight gain or weight loss. That's when Oprah introduced Dr. Oz. Later, this decision to work together made many people believe it was just a scheme to sell meaningless products, while Oprah got filthy rich. In 2003, Oprah herself appeared as a guest on his show, Second Opinion with Dr. Oz, and the two hit it off immediately, leading to Oz becoming a regular health expert on the world's most watched talk show. Just like Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz was technically an actual doctor. In fact, he actually appeared to have better credentials than Phil and a real reason for being platformed. He got his MD from the University of Pennsylvania School of Medicine in 1986. He completed a residency in general surgery and went on to become a cardiothoracic surgeon specializing in heart surgery. Over the years, he made more than 60 appearances on Oprah's show, covering topics ranging from heart disease, cholesterol, and blood pressure to preventative care. He also frequently offered sound dietary guidance, weight management tips, and insights into the health impacts of various foods. For a lot of fans, Dr. Oz was the perfect televised physician because he explained things in a very simple and understandable way.
Let's start with what should be in your refrigerator, all right?
Antioxidants.
Antioxidants.
What is an antioxidant? This apple was cut in half, and you'll notice this has turned brown, and
Yes.
this one hasn't because we took a little bit of lemon juice and sprinkled it on top.
So the lemon was like the antioxidant to the apple?
Exactly. Same thing happens to our skin, to our heart, to our eyes, all of our bodies.
Oprah presented Oz to her multi-million member audience as a miracle healer, capable of saving lives with his wealth of knowledge and love of fitness.
Okay, Dr. Oz, turn around here. On that wall, these are just some of the people who told us that something they heard you say on the show saved their lives. And a few of those grateful viewers wanted to be here today. So come on out, Catherine, Sandra, Brad, Karen,
Oh my
and Jay.
goodness.
Which is why in 2009, Dr. Oz got his own show co-produced by Oprah's company. And unlike other celebrity doctors, Oz was originally known for being against supplements and scams, often being praised for a more affordable approach to helping you lose weight.
Today at 4 on an all-new Dr. Oz, America's hidden health scandal. The supplements you have been taking may not be as safe as you think. Dr. Oz is uncovering the truth about the potential dangers in some of those supplements.
Unfortunately, this would change as the money started rolling in. television. His program slowly became more of an infomercial, promoting products rather than talking about practical solutions, like this green coffee bean extract that he marketed as a miracle in a bottle.
You may think magic is make-believe, but this little bean has scientists saying they found the magic weight loss cure for every body type. It's green coffee beans. And when turned into a supplement, this miracle pill can burn fat fast for anyone who wants to lose weight.
But this turned out to be completely false. The study that was often cited to support green coffee beans' miracle effect was later retracted due to flawed data. Years later, a senator publicly criticized Oz for using his show to market supplements, questioning why he would label them as miracles.
When you call a product a miracle and it's something you can buy and it's something that gives people false hope, I just don't understand why you need to go there.
My job, I feel, on the show is to be a cheerleader for the audience. And when they don't think they have hope, when they don't think they can make it happen, I want to look for any evidence that might be supportive to them.
Do you believe there's a magic weight loss cure out there?
If you're selling something because it's magical, no. If you're arguing that it's going to be like magic because if you stop eating carbohydrates, you're going to lose a lot of weight, that's a truthful statement. You may not agree with the flowery use of the word magic, but it is true that most people cutting out simple carbs will lose weight.
And while Dr. Oz was selling magical supplements
play on words, and that's what the problem is. Magical. You got to look back at how he said it, but at the same time, he's in court trying to flip it like he just said it's going to be like magic. But you didn't say that. You didn't say that on the Oprah show. You said it's magic. Now you're in court saying I said it's going to be like magic. You see how things flip? Just like kids. That's how kids do.
You're going to lose a lot of weight. That's a truthful statement. You may not agree with the flowery use of the word magic, but it is true that most people cutting out simple carbs will lose weight.
And while Dr. Oz was selling magical supplements to lose weight and help fight cancer, Oprah continued her own crusade for alternative healing methods, often without much evidence to really back the claims, especially when Oprah introduced a man who called himself John of God. Unlike Dr. Oz, John claimed to be a Brazilian healer and spiritual medium, able to heal the spirit and the body at the same time. For decades, visitors would wait in long lines to meet him at the Casa de Loyola in Brazil. When their turn finally came, John would look at them briefly, often without asking questions, and pronounce the spirit of a deceased doctor or healer that was working through him that day. And of course, when people's trauma or pain did not go away, they weren't exactly convinced of his supernatural abilities.
This is who they flock to.
Oh my God, this is...
He calls himself John of God, but his real name is John Faria, a man who claims miracles. But what happens here is much less divine intervention than downright exploitation.
This is terrible.
And did you feel anything at all after you had been in this man's presence?
No.
Any logical person would look at this as nothing more than a grift. Others might see this as the early foundations of a cult. But on November 17th, 2010, Suzanne Casey wrote in Oprah's O magazine about her trip to see him in Brazil. After the death of her father, Casey wondered if John of God could help heal her grief. The article was called Leap of Faith, Meet John of God, and it was covered on the Oprah Winfrey Show. If that wasn't strange enough, Oprah even visited the healer on Oprah's Next Chapter, traveling to Brazil to meet him in person. And once again, due to Oprah's massive platform of millions of people who will just listen to whatever she says, his appearances across her programs helped his healing center gain international attention, drawing thousands of visitors who trusted Oprah's coverage. However, it turns out John was exploiting his authority to abuse vulnerable patients. More than 200 complaints poured in from 9 Brazilian states and 2 from overseas, and as a result, John of God had no other option but to surrender himself to the authorities. The number of sexual abuse allegations against him grew to nearly 600 women between 1986 and 2017. Now, on one hand, it's highly likely that Oprah had no idea that John of God was an absolute monster. She probably read the article and just believed that her team had done a thorough investigation before giving it the green light. On the other hand, I think you've now noticed the pattern of Oprah platforming very dangerous people. You'd think that after experiencing so many of these scandals, Oprah would be cautious of who she endorsed by bringing on her show. show. But at this point, Oprah was simply too big to fail. In 2010, she consistently made the #1 spot on the Forbes list of the most powerful celebrities. If she made $77 million in 1 year, it was considered a bad year. And unfortunately, it seemed like the richer she got, the more disconnected she became from reality. Like how she held massive giveaways that ended up costing her own guests a small fortune, or how she decided to tackle poverty and education in Africa only for her program to allegedly traumatize innocent children. Part of what made the Oprah Winfrey Show so famous was its large-scale giveaways to members of the live audience, which only grew her persona as a kind and charitable woman. The segment was called Oprah's Favorite Things, and instead of giving away cheap electronics, Winfrey would give away home renovations, wardrobe makeovers, group therapy retreats, or scholarships that could genuinely change someone's life. And every time, the crowd absolutely lost their minds, something that was often made fun of by comedians.
The most expensive gift ever given away on Oprah's Favorite Things? A DVD handycam valued at over $900!
Oh my God.
Everybody here gets humpback whales! You get a humpback whale, and you get a humpback whale!
But in typical Oprah fashion, to keep ratings up, she kept making them bigger and bigger, eventually giving every single person in the audience a brand new car.
All right, open your boxes. Open your boxes. 1, 2, 3.
Oprah later looked back at the car giveaway saying, "That was one of the happiest days of my life. It delights me. It makes me so happy to see other people be happy and to be able to do that. That's one of the great joys of my life." The segment went down as one of the greatest talk show moments in history, inspiring other hosts to attempt large-scale giveaways. However, for some people, being handed a new car was actually a massive liability. While the show covered sales tax and registration for all 267 cars, it didn't pay the gift tax. Audience members were suddenly expected to pay $7,000 depending on their tax bracket. The show's producer said, "It was devastating after because gift tax is a thing, and it's always a complicated thing when you're giving stuff away. But we paid for the sales tax and the registration for each car, and we told the audience after if they didn't want to have to pay a gift tax, they could actually take cash for the car. And because we didn't pay the gift tax, people complained to the press, and that was devastating." Now, of course, being upset with Oprah over this is a little wild. It's a generous gift, and it's even more generous to give people the alternative of just receiving cash. But it was showing a pattern that Oprah was sort of detached from regular people. She didn't appear to understand that just throwing money around doesn't solve problems. In fact, it can actually create more problems. She had to learn this the hard way when she started a school in South Africa, but things got so much darker than she ever could have imagined. Earlier in her career, Oprah met with South African President Nelson Mandela to discuss strategies for addressing poverty. During her stay at the Mandela's home, she expressed her belief that education is key to leveling the playing field and shared her dream to build a school for girls in their country. 5 years later, the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls opened its doors. She poured $40 million into the 28-building campus for poor and disadvantaged girls.
It can be a place of learning as well as living for them. We have to have a theater because this is a school for leaders, and in order to be a leader, you have to have a voice. And to have a voice, you need oration. So the idea for the school came about based on what I felt would be an honor for the African girls.
And all this for free. Free uniforms, free books, free meals. Everything is free at Oprah's school.
Initially, she was criticized for being too extravagant. Critics questioned whether high thread count sheets in the dormitories, a beauty salon, 2 theaters, and a dedicated yoga studio were necessary for an institution serving girls from impoverished communities. However, horrific allegations between 2007 and 2010 made the situation far more serious. A dormitory employee, Virginia Macapo, was arrested on charges including assault, indecent assault, and soliciting underage girls to perform indecent acts. At least 7 victims came forward, and Winfrey was shook to her core about these horrifying statements. She flew down to South Africa immediately. Winfrey, who called herself Mama Bear, praised the girls who reported the abuse. As often is the case, child abuse happens right within the confines of the people you know. I personally spoke to all the girls and encouraged them to come forward over this abuse claims. The girls are receiving counseling. I told the girls that we are going to clean out the school. There is still a lot of potential there. But Oprah may have overcorrected the problem and made the school even worse. After firing a ton of staff and implementing new rules, one parent described the school as now isolating its pupils from society, while others described it more like an abduction, where they sometimes couldn't even see their children. According to some of these parents, the school seemed like a detention camp. Witnesses stated, "We had only 2 hours to see my child. Surely this isn't a prison or an institution. The poor children are not even allowed to have any treats. Their diet is fruit, yogurt, and sandwiches." The previous week, there was a meeting for parents and guardians with the staff, and these issues were not brought up. Once again, Oprah, on her pursuit to make herself look better and extremely charitable, she completely misses the mark of what these mothers actually want. And it's ironic that she called herself Mama Bear to these girls when she really knows nothing about motherhood. She once said, "When people were pressuring me to get married and have children, I knew I was not going to be a person that ever regretted not having them, because I feel like I am a mother to the world's children." Now, being a symbolic parent is not the same as being responsible for a child's day-to-day safety and emotional well-being. Oprah viewed her school as protection and opportunity, and actual mothers viewed it as isolation and control, something that Oprah would have seen if she was an actual parent with a child of her own. Oprah later acknowledged that she might have underestimated the psychological impact of a strict boarding school. "I have made several mistakes, and one of them was being overprotective of the girls, which has led to an impression that the school is isolating them from society." But again, this isn't really an apology. She's just being overprotective because she cares so much. But things were about to get so much worse. The alleged assailant, Virginia McApoe, was formally acquitted of all 14 charges. The magistrate ruled that the testimony from the alleged victims was contradictory and lacked corroboration. McApoe declined to say whether she would forgive Winfrey and the staff of the academy. Oprah responded, "I am profoundly disappointed at the outcome of the trial. I will forever be proud of the 9 girls who testified with the courage and conviction to be heard. There was no justice for the young girls who were assaulted at Oprah's school." Now, if you do a little bit of searching beyond the mainstream news, you will find countless accusations that there are missing children from Oprah's South African school. People have long been trying to connect Oprah's school with Jeffrey Epstein. However, there are no reports of missing children, nor are there any records of her visiting his island. However, her former business partner, Geraldine Laybourne, that they co-founded Oxygen Media together, was found on Epstein's private jet log. And you'll notice that Oprah always has this at the scene of the crime nature to her. She was friendly with Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, Diddy, had a school in South Africa where young children were assaulted, plus all of these controversies that we have mentioned before, yet she always came out squeaky clean. It was always just a misunderstanding, and she was just too empathetic or too overprotective and just wanted to do the right thing. Now, a more simple explanation is that this pattern has more to do with her proximity to power. When you're one of the most famous and influential people in the world, the circle you move in is overwhelmingly made up of other wealthy, powerful figures. Being photographed with or professionally connected to people like Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, or Diddy may simply reflect the reality of Hollywood and billionaire class networking, which is why Oprah had to set the record straight that she never went to a Diddy party.
I have never been near a puff party.
Bullshit, 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 bullshit.
They got pictures of you at his parties, Oprah.
And anybody who knows me knows if there is a party, I'm the first one out. I'm the first one out.
But people love salacious stories.
But she was not as clear when it came to denouncing the horrible crimes of Harvey Weinstein. Harvey was a film producer and one of the most powerful men in Hollywood. Beginning in the 1990s and continuing for years, multiple women later testified that Weinstein used his power to coerce encounters, threaten professional retaliation, and sabotage careers when advances were rejected. When those allegations finally became public in 2017, reporting revealed that Weinstein had paid settlements to silence accusers, used private investigators to intimidate women and journalists, and relied on legal agreements to keep victims quiet. More than 80 women accused Harvey Weinstein of sexual harassment. 6 women testified, and he was found guilty of third-degree and a first-degree criminal sex act. He was sentenced to 23 years in prison in 2020, but when Oprah was confronted publicly about Weinstein's actions, she steered the conversation away from him, which was seen by many as her protecting Harvey.
And if we make this just about Harvey Weinstein, then we will have lost this moment. I think this is a moment where no matter what business you work in, there have been women who not only had the disease to please, that's a part of it, but who felt that in order to keep my job, in order to keep my position, in order to keep moving forward, I've got to smile, I've got to look the other way, I got to pretend he didn't say that, I got to pretend he didn't touch me. I think those days are about to be over.
Stop pretending you didn't know. You all knew. World. Harvey looks guilty. Oprah. Let's focus on the late Michael Jackson instead. Oprah Winfrey had spent decades positioning herself as someone unafraid to ask hard questions, even when they made guests uncomfortable. So when the questions finally pointed back at her circle, her response looked strategic. She was close enough to Weinstein that she was photographed kissing him on the cheek. Are we really to believe that she had no idea what he was doing to obtain that power? Maybe he gave her some tips and tricks of the trade. Oprah has slowly become another corrupt American billionaire in the eyes of the public. The empathy that once made her famous has started to come into question. It seems like every time Oprah Winfrey tries to share her money and power with the public, a story will follow exposing her as an opportunist, cosplaying as empathetic just to get everything she ever wanted, especially when it came to her response to the natural disaster in Maui, Hawaii. Instead of looking like a generous helping hand, the public only saw her as a corrupt landlord trying to protect her massive empire of stolen land. Oprah's connection to Hawaii began when her longtime trainer turned property manager, Bob Green, suggested she consider buying land there. Bob had been visiting a particular area of Hawaii for 15 years, drawn to its weather, mountains, and ocean views. While searching for the perfect spot, he eventually found it in a remote, upcountry region where most homes sit along moss-covered hillsides overlooking the sea. Bob encouraged Oprah to check out the nearby property that had gone up for sale, and Oprah was quick to frame her purchase as another act of generosity. Referring to Bob, Oprah said he was worried that some developer might swoop up the land and build condos. So instead, Oprah decided to buy it and build up her own private estate. Over the years, Oprah continued to buy massive plots of land all over Maui, and now she owns over 1,000 acres that she more or less keeps for herself. Now, Oprah has received praise for employing native Hawaiians and preserving wildlife, but there was definitely a fair amount of criticism coming from people about how she chose to do it. And that only got worse when the Maui fire became a national tragedy. On August 8th, 2023, a series of devastating wildfires swept across Maui, including Lahaina Upcountry and Kula, becoming the deadliest U.S. wildfire in over a century. Lahaina was impacted the hardest. Dry vegetation, powerful hurricane winds, and downed power and communication lines made the fire spread incredibly fast and made it almost impossible for people to evacuate safely. More than 2,200 buildings were damaged or destroyed, and entire neighborhoods were reduced to ash. The confirmed death toll reached over 100 people. After the wildfires, Oprah and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson launched the People's Fund of Maui, each pledging $5 million to help survivors.
Just click where you see below and send a donation. That money is going to go to one of many residents who have been displaced in Maui. We guarantee.
In this case, the fund that we created with a lot of hard work from a lot of hardworking people who all care about these people of Maui, as Oprah was saying, it is a clean, direct from you directly to their hands, and right away with some real immediacy, because as we're finding, as you guys around the world know, with disasters like this, the number one need is money.
Is money.
In hand.
Now we can all admit that any amount of money donating to a good cause.
Poor Rock. He didn't know no better, y'all. I don't even blame Rock. I don't blame him. But he got away from Oprah. You see, he apologized, like I don't know, on Instagram or one of his social medias, that look, guys, I see what y'all's, I didn't look at it that way, and I apologize and all this stuff. So he was sincere. He's sincere with his fans.
Is a good thing. And we should.
Here we go.
Disasters like this, the number one need is money.
Is money.
In hand.
Now we can all admit that any amount of money donating to a good cause is a good thing, and we shouldn't shame people for that. And of course, The Rock and Oprah donating $5 million is incredibly generous. But two billionaires giving out the equivalent of pocket change to them, and then asking hardworking Americans to donate instead, just kind of felt a little bit like a slap in the face. In response to the unified hatred, The Rock said, "When we first launched the fund, there was some backlash. I get it and I completely understand, and I could have been better, and next time I will be better, noting it's hard to donate when the person asking you for money already has a lot of money. Ultimately, The Rock was able to get away from the story in a handful of days. He was born and raised in Hawaii, so those people didn't feel as much anger towards him. However, Oprah still hasn't been able to live this down. Winfrey told CBS that she was terrorized and vilified online following the announcement of the fund. I was so excited about it, and then I got up the next morning and I saw all of this vitriol, and I was like, whoa, what happened here? For the millionth time, Oprah was just trying to do the right thing, and she was excited about it, and she didn't understand why people were so mad at her. And because people were so mad, a handful of conspiracy theories began to spread, alleging that she failed to help the innocents from escaping the chaos on the island. One of the most widespread conspiracies was that she had a secret road that she closed off when the fire spread, even though it technically belonged to another ranch. Additionally, after disasters like this, a very specific conspiracy almost always follows, that wildfires are land grab opportunities for the rich. Once an area is devastated, longtime residents are financially ruined, insurance battles drag on, and rebuilding becomes impossible. Property values crash, and that's when the wealthy outsiders quietly swoop in to buy the land at a fraction of its former cost. To people already angry and grieving, it starts to feel less like recovery and more like a reset designed for the rich. What makes people suspicious about Oprah Winfrey isn't a single accusation. It's a pattern of power, being surrounded by countless controversies yet somehow never being seen as at fault. For decades, Oprah didn't just participate in media, she controlled it. She owned her voice, her distribution, and if you were on her show, she also owned your voice. There was never a gatekeeper she had to answer to, because she was the gatekeeper. If a controversy surfaced, Oprah didn't wait for the narrative to form. She got in front of it, softened it, and reframed it on her own terms. Now, to her credit, she did teach millions of people how to talk about pain, healing, and growth, but that also became her secret weapon. Her own failures didn't result in accountability. They were just life lessons that she had to go through. Not to mention, she benefited from it every time, platforming countless con artists, a boost in ratings, promoting a dangerous or unproven diet trend, a best-selling book, and more cultural influence. Good friends with Hollywood predators, never asked what she knew about them, and is seen as empathetic for shifting focus on victims. Buys up 1,000 acres in Hawaii, pricing out natives right before a natural disaster, seen as a savior for launching a charity with other people's money. Those victims were just a part of God's plan for Oprah. She was just trying to do the right thing, and her audience believed her every time. And now, she's worth nearly $3 billion. Not because she avoided mistakes, but because she never lost control of the story around them. And like so many people who reach that level of power, we don't need discernible proof that they are bad people. We just can't trust anything that they say. Kind of like Ellen DeGeneres, who was a lovable and kind talk show host for 3 decades, but once she lost control of her narrative, the cracks in her facade began to show. But if you want to hear more about that, check out this video.
We definitely got to do that one. We definitely got to do that one. Them two, both of them, Ellen and Oprah, is on the Uncle Mike's radar. One of the things I can say, man, that Oprah was doing, that's sad. The rich get richer and the poor get poor. The middle class is about to be cut out, y'all. You got AI coming, you got robots coming, and all this stuff. Imagine if you are a business owner, you own like Amazon. Amazon done dropped over 30,000 jobs. FedEx followed suit. UPS followed suit. They dropped all these people and hired robots. And I'm not talking about the ones that look like humans, which is, I think, is a big mistake. They should have never made these robots. I'm talking about a machine looking like a robot that's doing the packaging and doing everything that humans could do. Now, you can't blame them because technology and equipment makes the owners work easier. You see what I'm saying? It's like, look, I own a business. Do you prefer to buy a machine that you never have to keep paying a salary to, that can sit here and do all this and push the buttons or do package whatever you needed to do? Or you're gonna hire 2 people that always call all slick, that never do the job right. They gotta go home and, with their personal problems or whatever. Their personal problems is not my problem. I'm trying to run my business. That's my personal problem. You know what I'm saying? And it's a 50-50 thing, man. You got to understand what's going on in the world. This is why I keep trying to stress how important it is for you to start your own YouTube channel. That's why I got a YouTube course. It's so important for you to start using technology and this equipment to better yourself, because they doing it. The rich is doing it. Imagine I don't know if they did, but imagine if the rich folks got together and burnt and set them fires on purpose to burn the land up so they can buy all this land in Hawaii. Because I think they get ready in the next 10 to 20 years, Hawaii is going to be this big old, we're going to buy this land because it's going to be generations to come, that this land is going to be superior, like Dubai or something, China type land. So that's what I think that the United States, that's my personal opinion. I think that they get ready to buy all this land up, Oprah, Ellen, and all the rest of the million and billionaires, and then they're going to do all this top of the line technology type stuff on this land. The rich get richer and the poor get poor, man. Hey, I'm gonna get on up out of here. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.